everybody. Welcome to What's New in .NET MAUI for .NET 10, or .NET MAUI What's New in .NET 10, or any variation of that. We're going to get into it. Got a ton of things to cover today, so let's go. I am David Ortnow. I am a Principal Product Manager on the .NET team, and of course my focus is .NET MAUI. So what was our focus going into .NET 10, and what have we been working on? Quality takes the cake, I mean, for sure. It is the biggest bulk of our focus. It is the feedback we've heard. Developers want fewer bugs. They want more things they can depend upon, rely upon in .NET MAUI. So that has been the majority of the focus. But performance is not to be left out. We have some performance things to highlight that will make not only your runtime apps a bit faster, but that will make your debug experiences significantly faster. So I think you want to stick around for that. Simplification, we have been looking at ways in which we can make things like XAML easier to work with, which makes it in turn easier for you to maintain your apps, easier for us to maintain the product as well. And then modernization, adopting new patterns. What are the new things? I hear there's this thing called Aspire that might be useful to .NET MAUI developers. So we've got some of that for you too. Before we get into the actual details of the release, let's look at the past year over year. How is the product going? And what progress have we made on the front of quality, as well as just general growth? So plus 24% developers year over year. That means that more and more developers are coming and using the product. We absolutely love to see that. And despite having more developers than ever using .NET MAUI, we see 34% less issues being created. So that's fantastic. Either that means we've already got every bug known to man and woman already logged, or we're making a dent on the quality thing, which I think we absolutely are. And then what does that mean in terms of PRs created, PRs merged? Both are up. So more PRs than ever are being created. You can see that evidently on GitHub. And then more being merged. Now the merged number's a little behind the created. That probably stands to reason for most products, and that is an area where we're continuing to iterate. What tools, what processes can we put into place to gain that high level of confidence that we're putting quality into the product and get those PRs moved through? And so where's all that wonderful work coming from? It's coming from people just like you. So the contributions to .NET MAUI for this past year have been substantial. And these the avatars on the screen are really just a few. There are many more of you who have contributed through issue triage, through PR review, and through other repositories that all feed into and support the .NET MAUI experience. So thank you very much for all of your contributions. We look forward to many more for years to come. Along with contributions to the core part of the product, we wanted to highlight always our component vendors. So, .NET MAUI has what it has in the box, tons of controls and layouts, but there always are those more advanced maybe scenarios or, custom fit scenarios like the data grids and the calendar controls and the accordions and things like that, component vendors like these do a fantastic job at. And so definitely highly recommend you check them out. Now, last year at .NET Conf, if you were with us, and if you weren't, you're going to find out now, we announced our close partnership with Syncfusion, which is one of the component vendors we just highlighted. They have decade plus of experience with .NET MAUI as well as Xamarin before. And they've brought that to bear. So a lot of the contributions are coming from the Syncfusion team. We calculated roughly 60% of all of the open source contributions, so those outside of Microsoft, employees, came from the Syncfusion team, which is substantial. Not only that, but their contributions to test coverage, whether through adding new tests or bringing some of the older Xamarin tests that just when we transitioned from .NET Framework to .NET hadn't been modernized yet, they were able to bring those online. So all of that really contributes heavily to the whole quality initiative that we have. At the time of announcement, as you can see on the slide that's there, that was the initial announcement slide. They open source, what does it say, like 14 controls, free and open source from their suite of controls. Here is a more up-to-date slide. It's now more than 30 controls. So it's fantastic to see the continued investment from Syncfusion into that, the momentum that they have not only in the core product, but also in the open sourcing of their controls and the controls that they contribute to. So this is really one way, perhaps one of the biggest ways that's new to .NET MAUI, where we are accelerating through this kind of collaboration. And we are not stopping there. We are now so excited to be working closely with the UNO platform. And I'm going to ask Sam Basu to join me up here and talk a little bit more about the contributions that UNO has started to provide and the collaboration that we're having. Come on in, Sam.
Hello, David. How are you?
Let me scoot over and make a little room for you.
Yeah.
We can make this happen. I love this quote from your blog post announcing your commitments to .NET and .NET MAUI, just highlighting how significant .NET is as the foundation of what UNO platform does. We have that shared base layer, of course, and that you continue to rely upon it. So, we're all in this together. We lift all the ships, as one of the saying goes. So tell us a bit more about what UNO platform is doing in this collaboration.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for having me. What a great day. We have .NET 10, we have Visual Studio 2026. It's a fantastic time to be a .NET developer. So let's talk about what we all love, the richness of our .NET
Yeah, if
ecosystem.
we can look at Sam's screen, please.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So I'm Sam Basu. I'm a developer advocate over at UNO Platform. So speaking of UNO Platform, we take .NET apps cross-platform to all the places, all the platforms, slightly different tech stack, slightly different tooling, but same idea. But the important thing here is it's all built on top of .NET, exactly what you just said. It's one big happy family. So it makes sense that we all work together. Right. So earlier this year, we entered into, we announced that we are, collaborating with Microsoft. So UNO Platform and .NET teams are now working together. .NET MAUI has had great momentum, great engineering, but we have specific areas of very deep expertise. So we can come in and chip in and make the whole ecosystem better. These are some of the more impactful areas where we can come in. Android, iOS, these native stacks are never easy. So Android 36 bindings, making Android work with native AOT, 16 KB page sizes for iOS and Android. Lots of issues being fixed. And we are just getting started. We'll keep working away at Skia making WebAssembly work multi-threading, which has implications for Blazor as well. So it's one big happy family. It's all in .NET.
Love it.
Now, I only have a couple of minutes here, so why don't I show you some quick demos trying to get this to work together. So the first thing is, as you're getting started with UNO Platform, so we have VS Code extensions and Visual Studio extensions with templates. But if you just wanted to start command line, we have what's called a live wizard here at new.platform.uno. So as I get started here, I am starting to create a new project. I can choose my runtimes. I can choose all the places where my app can run and other configurations for my app. But down here in my features, I get .NET MAUI embedding, right? So it's UNO Platform and MAUI all working together, one big family. So I already have this working in an app. So what we do with MAUI embedding is essentially this is a .NET MAUI project with the same exact dependencies, .NET 10 runtimes, and I'm bringing in our good friends over at Syncfusion, bringing in some of their UI. And it's the same exact thing that you expect from any .NET MAUI app. We are wiring up how the app configures and builds up. And then here's XAML, exactly what .NET MAUI XAML looks like, including Syncfusion barcode and a calendar. So if I embed that inside of a UNO Platform app, what you get is an app like this. And this one screenshot on a emulator shows you a couple of things. First up, this is running on a Pixel 9. So Android 16 KB page sizes, done. You don't have to worry about it. So this label here is a UNO Platform native label, but everything down here, it's all .NET MAUI, exactly how we expect it. That's a Syncfusion barcode. There's your calendar. Everything works. So bring all the UI, your community toolkits, MAUI UI, Syncfusion, and any third-party UI, bring it all in. It's all one .NET.
I love it. I love it because, what we care the most about is enabling developers, enabling our Microsoft customers to build the things they need to build and to ship them quickly, and having more options is great.
Yep.
So this is fantastic.
One last thing.
Yeah.
So we had this thing called a NuGet Package Explorer. If you come from the Windows days, you might remember this. This was a way for you to explore NuGet packages before you actually bring it into your app. Also be able to create and update NuGet packages. So this started out as a WPF app, but that's Windows only. We would like to have it, share the love, make it run everywhere. So we actually took this over and rewrote it as an Uno platform app. This is the app running on, WebAssembly in your browser. So it's just NuGet.info, and you can, step through. You can look at each NuGet package and see how it's working. Now, you also are going to talk about some web view enhancements in .NET MAUI. I love that because now you can bring in all of your web investments into a native app. So if I can pull up another app here and show you that this is a .NET MAUI app. I got a web view here. We got web views in Uno platform as well, same idea. And I can take the same exact WASM app. Now, web views are really good at showing you local content, Blazor or local HTML, CSS, but you can also point it to a remote WASM application like this. So if I search for MAUI, and let's say we get to one of the core MAUI NuGet packages, I can open it up. I can see everything that the NuGet package offers. I can see the actual bits. I can see all the dependencies, and with some of the new web view changes, I can hit one button and I'm identifying where you're at. I'm back to the home screen, loading up a WASM app. So bottom line is it's all .NET, and we all love .NET. Check us out. And then a quick shout out. We had a release today, and Jerome Laban from our side is going to do a session on day 3 with a lot of mind-blowing stuff, so I don't want to spoil the surprise. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Sam.
Thank
Appreciate it. All right, folks, if we can go back to my screen, we've got a lot of features to talk about for .NET 10. I'll scoot over a little bit. Woohoo! All right. Nope, I'm not centered. Oh, nope, I can come more this way. You don't need to move anything. I got this. You're good. All right, XAML. People love XAML. I see a XAML llama behind the camera over there. You can't see him, but I see him. He's coming for you next. We have been investing in XAML, and this is some of the simplification and the modernization and things. So let's talk about global namespaces. Let's talk about implicit namespaces, and then source generation, which is huge. So without global XML namespaces, your XAML files look like this, right? You got a bunch of them in there. The head of your file starts to get kind of obnoxiously large. But if you bring in globalization, think of this as your C# usings, right? Global usings, we can now get rid of all of that. Not just the XMLNS declarations that are in the file, but we can get rid of the need to use the prefixes as well. I think this is hot. So how do you do this? You do it by declaring your global XMLNS anywhere in your project. C# file works. I put it with my global usings. I was ridiculed by some of the core team. They're like, oh, you got to keep it separate. Doesn't really matter. Just needs to be in your project so that it can compile. And you can see that we're basically packing those namespaces into a new global namespace, because previously the namespace was not MAUI/global. It had like a date on it, right? And so you were actually using the MAUI controls namespace. Now they're separate. We can pack them all together. And you can see in this particular example, I've also got Syncfusion in there. I've got the MAUI Community Toolkit in there, so you can see that it works just as well with third-party packages. And then to use it, we need to change our root XMLNS in all of our files to use the global XMLNS, and it can then inherit all of those that you've just defined. So you can take a file that looks like this. You can see all the prefixes, all the all the prefixes that are being used in there, and then we can reduce it to that. So I'll flip back and forth a few times so you can get a sense of how much cleaner that is. Works with IntelliSense. You still get the same help that you need there. You can still go to the source and do all the things that you were doing before. Totally works. So check that out. Now, implicit namespaces goes a step further. And it says, okay, well, there are certain XMLNS that are used everywhere. Why do you have to keep defining the same things over and over again? So what if we could go further and get rid of those two as well, those two guys at the top there? Yes, you can do that. this is called a preview feature, and it's a preview feature because we have a bit more work to do with Visual Studio Code and Visual Studio with the XAML language service to make this a smooth experience for you when you're coding. But it totally works today out of the box. So that can reduce all that stuff that we started with down to just this. I should have probably brought back the very first slide to show you the side-by-side. It's impressively different. So very excited about that. In order to opt in for this preview feature, here's what you do. You put this in your CS proj. You need to opt into preview features, which is a way for us to ship coming things in current releases, and then define that constant, and you're good to go. XAML source gen. This is super exciting. So going all the way back to Xamarin Forms and up until now, you've been using XAML-C, XAML compilation, and it's basically a code generation that does what you see on the screen here. In debug, you have a XAML phase, a validation phase, runtime inflation of your views with reflection, and then a visual tree. So if you're wondering, why are my debug apps so much slower than when I release them? Reflection. That's a big part of it, right? And so this is certainly an area we've heard feedback on. We need to have more speedy apps so that debugging doesn't take forever, and so that my app doesn't, close out on itself before we even get to debugging. But then the other issue here, you see there's a difference between the debug build and the release build in terms of the steps that are happening. So that introduces the potential for things to be different, and that's no bueno. So what can we do about that? Here comes XAML source generation. So this is Roslyn generators, source generators. And so the phases are XAML, Roslyn validation, C# to IL to visual tree. So yeah, there's more steps in there, but the consistency and the performance are fantastic. Today, it is an opt-in feature. In addition to .NET 10, we have, by the way, shipped Service Release 1. So you can see faster build times on the bulleted list there. It's not bulleted, on the list there. That is also available to you today. But you're absolutely going to get faster debug and release builds. You're going to get consistency between the experience of your debug and your release build. And you can debug the generated code. But let's look at some numbers, and these numbers are kind of wild. 1,000% faster, not a lie, 1,000% faster view inflation, okay? Totally mind-boggling. 99% less debug memory is used. So when you're debugging, whatever memory is needed for the view inflations in the XAML bit, 99% reduced. 25% faster view inflation and UI rendering on those pages at runtime, and then less app memory generally. So yeah, it's so good. It's so good. You're going to want to turn this on. We've been testing it with a bunch of apps. We want your feedback, of course. Is it working well for you? What can we do to improve it? I mentioned that you can do debugging of it. How do you do all of this? How do you turn this on? How do you opt into it, etc.? So Maui XAML inflator, tell it to use SourceGen in your CS proj, and you're good to go. And then optionally, you can turn on the emit compiler generated files. And that gives you the files that you can then see in your OBJ folder. You know, the bin OBJ folders that you constantly are deleting manually to get things to look good? Yeah, that folder. So you can see in here, I'm not showing you all the code. It's not the most beautiful code in the world. It's not the kind of code you probably write, but it's debuggable. It's at least legible, because if you ever try to look at IL, I promise you're not debugging that. So very excited about XAML source gen. So what kind of performance can you look for? On the left, yes, left, is the XAML-C, and on the right is SourceGen. So you're going to see the performance difference once I hit play. So watch closely. This is just going from your splash page to the home screen. So yeah, faster, right? All right. So what if we do from the home screen, we push, and we go back, right? So several navigation events rendering different screens. Here we go. Spoiler alert, SourceGen's faster. And these are debug builds on a Pixel 5 running Android 14. So super, super excited by this. But I also wanted to show Oh, finally the XAML C caught up. I also wanted to show using some of the shell navigation elements to show you the difference there. So this is the home page. We're pulling our fly out. We're going to push. We're going to go back, fly out, and back home. Okay. And you know what? I tested this with the SR1 because these are recorded on GA bits, not the SR1 bits. Even faster. Scrolling of long lists are faster. It's all faster. Anything that basically blocked on UI inflation, faster. So you're gonna want to check that out. All right, moving on, because there's so many awesome things in this release. We're just bang, bang, bang. Safe areas. So Android 36, I believe, introduced edge to edge. And so when that first shipped and landed, people were like, what happened to my app? Suddenly it's under the status bar. What's going on? That was a choice by Google. And so, we reacted to that basically by opting out of it and said, we need time to work on an API that can best support what developers need to do to handle those cases. So as you can see on the screen, I asked a particular generative, friend of mine to create some of the different UI paradigms that are out there for Android with obscured bits, right, that you need to avoid. So generally, safe area, unsafe area, it's this, right? It's the notch, it's the dot, it's the camera hole, it's the dynamic island, it's the whatever. It's also the home indicator or whatever happens to be on the bottom of the screen. And you want to make sure your content stays out of there, but maybe you want to flow other things into that space. So we've worked on a new API called SafeArea Edges. And as you can see, you've got several options here. It works on any layout. So you can do it on the content page, content view, and any layout. Those are the ones that are going to control what bleeds into and what stays out of those spaces. It is not something that gets inherited all the way down your visual tree. So be aware of that. You need to be very specific about what you want to do. We have Android and iOS support for it. I saw it today. It also works on macOS, and I believe Windows will be in the works if it's not already shipping, and I just don't know. So what does this look like in practice? Well, here is our sample app. If you do .NET MAUI with the sample content, you get this particular application, and it's that bit at the bottom. You see where the content stops, but you have white space down there. What's going on, right? So when you do safe area edges none, you're basically saying bleed into all the spaces. Navigation bar has its own behavior at the top, so it stays the same, but you get this. And so really, you're just annotating how do I want it to behave in those particular situations. And as I just transitioned to, we now have glass support as well, which is Xcode 26, iOS 26, all those sorts of things. So you get the floating tab bar, and that floats right above your content as well. Something that you'll want to be aware of and take, use the padding on your content to make sure that when it does scroll up, it doesn't stop and then sit behind that tab bar. Here is an Android example. So this is that Pixel 9 that we were just talking about with Sam. And you can see that on the left, we've got something that gets obscured at the top and doesn't flow all the way up. But on the right, we've got, that's also my UI generation friend did a little toy for Maddie. That's Maddie. Everybody loves that. Maddie couldn't be here with me, but she's on the screen. All right. We mentioned hybrid apps earlier when Sam showed that cool Uno demo. We have been investing in hybrid. We hear so much feedback from developers that hybrid is a huge win for them. You get great looking apps. You're able to reuse your web assets, whether it's Blazor, Angular, Vue, all these other ones that I haven't memorized the names for yet. And so we wanted to continue to invest in it based on the feedback we've been giving. So we've added some new hooks into these experiences for you to control the flow of information and react to view state and things like that. So we've introduced invoke JavaScript, web view initializing, web view initialized, and then you can even intercept requests as they're happening. So let's say you need to replace an asset or something like that. Aspire orchestration is in. Thank you, Gerald, so much for this. Very cool. He's already got a great video on this. You can go check out his demo. It's awesome for all the things that Aspire does, and more is coming. It's super easy to get set up. It's as simple as this. You set up your app host, you fire up all the things. We have our own version of the service discovery template service, the thing, right? The template that you add. It's Maui specific, so make sure you use the Maui one. We've already shipped the templates for it. We have fresh docs today that tell you how to use all of that stuff. And here's a more complex example from one of my applications where we have use of the variables. You can provide your own resources. So I've got some keys that I'm providing, and then I can pass those into my applications, and I get all the observability as well as all of the setting of things that needs to happen. It's been a moment since I was a web developer, so I love having this help to feed that stuff into my application. All right, we've got more to go. I'm over time, but I'm still rolling. Jeff and Javier, think of your questions while I'm still going here. Thanks. Did everybody hear that laugh? Maniacal laugh. We've added diagnostics for helping you monitor your performance and fine-tune your performance in your applications. So you can do this little thing here with the Microsoft Extensions helper, and you can add meters and metrics and things to your application. You do this in your Maui program, and then you're gonna get this in Aspire. And so you can see here, if you zoom in on that screen, you can see how long your arrange and your measure and your different layout things are taking, and you can visually inspect that and say, okay, well, this thing's taking a really long time. I need to work on that. Okay, well, what if you don't wanna go all the way with Aspire, but you still wanna take advantage of this? I did this in one of my applications. You can inject kind of your own thing here along with the helper, which is the add console exporter and things like this. And you can just write the stuff out to your console. And then you can use a preprocessor or a post-processor. I don't know if it's pre or pro, but you use a processor and you can just format that stuff and pipe that right into your debug output. And you can get these wonderful measures right there. I think this is fantastic. We kind of were inspired by some libraries that are doing this today. And we're adding more. So there's more that we're adding here, and then you can also instrument your own code to do that. And there's more. I could have done a 3-hour session on what is new in .NET MAUI this year. It is absolutely tremendous. We have touched all of this and more. Go to the AKA What's New in .NET 10 for .NET MAUI. Check all of that out. We've got tons of resources. People ask us for samples all the time. Did you know we have a samples browser in learn.microsoft.com? There's like at least 98 there now, and more coming all the time. Gerald said he just put one in. And so we've got a What's New that gives you the roundup. We've got the Maui docs, which our docs are constantly being updated. We have all those samples, and then we even have a Maui 10 upgrade. You thought I wasn't going to talk about AI, but there it is. We have got a prompt that will upgrade your application, and we've had good success with it. I heard several reports today that it worked out well. So check that out. It's a big help. Quick reminder, 18-month support policy. It's different than the rest of .NET. Maui is unique for reasons explained on the AKA at the bottom there. Just keep upgrading. Just when we ship something new, it's got good stuff. We're trying super hard not to break you. Keep moving forward. And we have awesome sessions coming up. So don't miss these sessions. There's more Maui content coming your way. And I will be watching every single one of them.